To enable push notifications in React Native Web, you first need to ask for permissions. I already have the native part covered, and the web-specific module for that native part is just a placeholder. I will replace it with implementation. My function will be called check for notification. I need to check if there's a notification. That's an object where you ask for a permission in the web browser. And since the web will be built, I don't want any errors during SSR, so I need to check if there's a window object present. Otherwise, I will return the request for permission, which will be in the try catch block, because it can fail. And I also want to set a flag while it's requesting, because it needs to follow the signature of the use notification permission hook. This hook will be called on native, otherwise this will be called on the web. And I need to call it in the use effect. And I need to set the status of the request, which I'll return as a result of the hook. And I will also return the request. Maybe it would be better if I called it in the use callback. And that's about it for requesting the permission. And maybe it will be better that this is a clean function, as it can be. Okay, this covers it. Permission is called from use device token hook. Once it's granted, device token is generated. Device token is an address to which a push notification can be sent. I also register the device token to my server because I want to send push notifications directly from server. This module contains calls to React Native Firebase, and if I leave it like this, it will not work on the web, so I need to move these specific calls out. To move it out, I will move it to my Firebase native module, and I will call the function device push token, and this will be moved out, and I will call get device push token instead. I already have an import to Firebase, and my Firebase exports from Firebase native. If I was calling it on the web, this module would not be called, this module would be called, and it exports from Firebase web. So I'll need to add a different implementation from the web. So FCM will be Firebase get device push token, and there's one more call, and I will put it here, and this should be enough to remove calls, direct calls to React Native Firebase, and this should work, but it won't work because I need to add exact signatures on the Firebase web. This will be a dummy method, because on token refresh it doesn't work the same on web. There's no token refresh. And get device push token will be slightly, well, a lot different. For now I will return a null. And one more thing, use device token is placed in the layout. Well, not in the layout in the index, but I could have placed it in the layout module. My Firebase web implementation is now just a placeholder, and I need to replace it with something actual, but not before I solve the prerequisites. I need a WAP ID token, and I can get it from Firebase console. Go to project settings, cloud messaging tab, scroll down to web configuration and generate a key pair. This right here, key pair, this is your WAP ID token. And I'll place it in the environment variable, and having just a WAP ID token is not enough. Since push notifications need a background context, I need a web service worker where I will register a listener to push notification messages. You can put the worker script in the public directory. It is dedicated for public statics. And since a web worker, it works in isolation, it's completely its own app. Web worker communicates with the main thread through messages. So although I have Firebase initialized in the web, I need to initialize it in the web worker. Since my script is contained in the public directory, I can just call process environment variables. It will not work without some magic, so my way was to pass it via message from the main thread. And I think this is good enough. Good job from GitHub Copilot. So, my Firebase config will be contained in the message data, and message data type is called init Firebase, okay? And only then it will reply to messages. One thing that is missing here, what if it gets called multiple times? So I just need to double check if it's already initialized. I won't process it. Firebase is initialized, and on background message, that is the actual listener that is important for push notifications. Show notification, that's the one that actually shows the pop-ups with the text from the notification. You can send a title and a description, and you can also set some kind of an icon if you want. In my example, I don't have icons, I just send title and description. As I mentioned, main thread and the service worker communicate through messages back and forth. I want to notify the main thread once everything has been configured. Well, it will be type Firebase initialized. Now this is my service worker, but I haven't registered it in the client part. So my client part registration will be here in the get device push token placeholder. And how I register it? This is how I register it. And now I can get token, except I can't. I'll show you why I can't soon enough. My messaging is called same signature, just give different module. Well, not exactly the same. Get token will need a web ID and the service worker registration. But if I leave it like this will fail because my Firebase hasn't initialized. So I need to send a message from the client to a worker and wait for it to be initialized. I first have to wait for the registration to be ready. And after waiting for be ready, I can just call service registration active post message. What was the message name? It was called init Firebase, and this is the configuration that needs to be sent. But this is not enough because I need to wait for the message back. So that's why I create a channel and create a listener, 2 messages from the web worker. And to create a listener is not enough to create a message channel. I need to attach it when posting a message, because web worker needs to know to whom it will post a reply. And this is not good enough because there might be, I don't know if I would call it a race condition, but this will not be ready and get token will be called, which will result in an error. I need to wait for all of this to process and then I can call the get token. So I will wrap this in a promise and a timeout. Okay, and my timeout will be reject, maybe 5 seconds is good enough. And inside of listener for the return message for reply from the web worker, I can clear the timeout. Maybe this, clear timeout, and well, I won't resolve anything. It will be a promise of a void. This will be a resolve and this will be a rejection. Okay, I will just place a wait for the new promise. And I think this should guarantee me that before I call the get token, all of this will be processed. So you don't call get token here, you call it from the main thread, from the client. This is only for registering the listeners to push notifications, well, on background message, because as I said, push notifications need a background context. So plain and simple. And now if I run the web, I think nothing should break, but you never know. At least my landing page is showing. And then my initialization timed out and now it worked. So I don't know, but you can see your web service worker in the tab application service workers, and if it was failing to register, you should also see red thingy over here. If in any case you update the web service worker, it's not updating in the web service worker, you can always unregister it, and when you refresh, it should be registered. Okay, so I know why it failed, because it has a status waiting to activate. So probably I had a service worker in some other tab, I don't know. The solution for this is to add a listener for installation, because it did install, but it did not activate. So if I unregister it and try again, it's there. But I also want to log my token. And why is it not being logged? Everything that's coming for the Firebase service worker worker is also logged in the console. You'll just see a different source. And why it keeps timing out? Because I didn't check what my GitHub Copilot free field, never trust AI, always double check. And finally I can see my FCM token. So what I can do right now is to test it out. Simplest way to test is from Firebase console, find messaging and create a new campaign, title whatever and notification text whatever. Click on send test message, add your FCM token and test. So it didn't show up the push notification, I don't know why, but it did receive a background message, so push notifications are working, but what's not working is the show notification. One reason is because if you have maybe do not disturb, or if you have on macOS, go to settings, go to notifications and find Google Chrome and check that allow notifications is toggled. Also the tab maybe needs to be closed, and if I test it again, it will not work. One other reason might be is because I'm not on HTTPS. It push notifications if they request a secure origin, and the fastest way to test it is to run an ngrok. And I will get the unique temporary HTTPS, but good enough. It will ask me for allowing to show notifications, that's why they use permission hook. It's another FCM token, because it's a different origin, and it will be here. And if I test it, it should work. Except it doesn't. Maybe if I close it and try again. Oh, one more thing. I had a bug in my service worker. So once the worker was initialized and the Firebase was already there, I would just return, but I needed to, every case I need to reply back with the Firebase initialized. There's a bit of repetition over here, so I can maybe make a helper function here. Message will be here, reply back. That was one little bug. Other little bug that I had is it does work for my HTTP. It's just when I was copying the token, I didn't copy it well, and then it sent to the wrong address. So if I test one more time to this HTTP localhost, you don't need ngrok, you will see a little push notification. For the push notification to work, I think that the website can be in the focus, just click on another tab. And I can test one other thing, sending the push notification from an nestjs server. So I'll spin it up. I don't need this anymore. And I have an API, port 3000, which has a Firebase middleware, except when I need to call an API, I can call it right here. And I already have the Google login injected in the Swagger UI, so I don't need to get the JVT token elsewhere and then copy it in the authorization. It's annoying, so I created this Firebase Google login injection. I made a video if you're interested, and my hello route is the one that's sending the message. It spams everyone, and my hello route is in the app controller, which broadcasts the message to everyone registered. But to be registered, I need to call this, and I need to double check the get device token, and my expo public API URL is probably not defined. So my use device token, maybe it will be better if it was in the use callback. If the permission is not granted, there is no sense in calling the get device token because I can't send the message. Prepare, I will call it in the use effect, and prepare will be here. So let's see. I didn't grant the permission, or did I? Well, it won't work because I'm not signed in. And now if I refresh it, now it should register the token. I hope so. Again, me trusting the AI and never double checking. I wait on the message. I wait on the message that's called Firebase initialized, and it's Firebase initialized, and it's over here, clear, it should be a clear timeout, and I could also log unexpected message, and finally works. So I have device token registered, yes, it's registered, and I can try sending a hello. Yeah, it shows up, pop-up shows up. It doesn't always work right away, so you need to try maybe sometimes a couple of times, or I don't know. Okay, so this covers integration of web push notifications for the web. I also learned something during this tutorial, because in my own implementation I didn't have waiting on install and on activate, and that's why people, you need to test it. I'm not sure how to test it properly, but as soon as I find out, I don't mean like manually testing this clicky, I need to write automated tests. As soon as I find out how to write automated tests for the web worker, I'll let you know. Anyways, thanks for watching.